Wilson Morales from Black Women TV. Hey, Davine, how's it going?
Hi, Wilson. It's so good to see you again.
Yeah, obviously, last 4 years, you've been blowing up the screen. You've been getting a lot of profile, which is good. Even though you've been working for a minute, but it's always about visibility. So it doesn't
Yes.
get any bigger than going to Cannes and being in a film that's already been talked about left and right. What went
Mm.
to saying yes to taking on this project?
I got the call from Sam Levinson, and I was a huge fan of his work and his process. I could tell by the work and euphoria that this was someone that was really serious about their craft, as well as someone who was willing to be a disruptor, and I say that in the most positive way of not conforming to, everyone else's sensibilities and tastes. And also at that point, with having been working, which is many blessings, and I must be very clear about that, but having been working consistently, I wanted to make sure that I was still constantly, elevating and making good choices and strategy of bringing new levels to my work.
How would you describe the character you're playing? Is she the voice of reason?
She's the voice of truth, I think. I think she's kind of like the cool aunt or the older big sister, right? Where it's like we're basically dealing with like a childhood star, right? That's making that transition into their adult career. And it's almost like dealing with a raging teenager. The more you tell them no, the more they're gonna run to it. So I think it's more so of she presents the options to Jocelyn, and ultimately it's her decision to make. But yeah, she really cares about her a lot. Also, I think what might go over a lot of people's heads is she's newly lost her mother, so she's also grieving.
Mhm. Now, this is not for some roles. It's a type of role you can do a research on. Obviously, there's always that sounding board in any business you might be at. When you take on a character like this, is there something that like you see in your business? Do you know people in the music business that are like the sounding board to main artists?
Yeah, so I had went to invited me to come to this was like in the very beginning when festival season was about to start. And I came to the event. It was in Aruba. And when I was on the plane, Mary J. Blige's manager was on my flight, who I don't know if everybody knows, but who is a black female. And so I found it as the most ideal situation to approach her, and she graciously answered tons of questions. And then on the flight back, I sat next to another manager, and I was like, well, this is great. I'm getting all my research done in one weekend. And so I just really leaned upon them, asking of their advice and what they learned about being a manager. And one thing that they said that I found so fascinating is that when they're looking to get a new client, and in the beginning stages, they learn them and get to know them because it's imperative as the manager to know the good and the bad of what you deal with, because of the fact that they stated when they begin to make money, who they are will only become a more exaggerated version of themselves. So when people say like, "Oh, you've changed," and no, that person was always that. But when money and fame and success gets involved, a more exaggerated version comes through. And I just thought that was so interesting. And he said so that when they first worked with them in the beginning, there's a negotiation for them of if that's something that they want to deal with. And so I think for Destiny, she signed on and she's willing to deal with it. And then this other guy comes into the picture, and now she's gonna have to whip out the big boys and really, play chess in this situation.
You've, as I mentioned before, you've worked on other projects. And when you're working opposite Lily and Abel, the rest of the cast, they're getting a bigger spotlight. For Lily, it's a big role. For Abel, he's making that transition. We all know him as the Weeknd, but we're now seeing him in this transition. And so, how was that dynamic in working with the both of them?
It's amazing. Lily is one of the most hardest working actors I've ever met in my life. She's so knowledgeable. She's a lover of the craft, crazy work ethic to the point where I'd be like, girl, we got it. I'm tired. Like there's nothing else I can give. She's such a hard worker, which is really, really amazing. And then secondly, Abel, he was just so generous. You know, we had a situation in which we had this opportunity to create this art, and quite literally, Abel literally allowed us in his home. And so, in us being in his actual space, we were able to create this amazing show. And so it was just great because it was so courageous to see someone in a certain form of art where they're killing it and so successful at such a young age to amass so much, and that then he decides he's willing to take risk and further challenge and question what is his art, what is his creativity, and chooses to go into this realm. And I just thought it was so amazing and courageous, and it was such a beautiful experience to watch him as he begins to traverse in this new area in his journey.
What's that feeling like being in Cannes? Obviously, you've, like I said, you've done other projects, you've been to premieres, you've been, you've gotten accolades. Cannes is a whole different beast. They come out for you, good or bad, and were you given the whole? Obviously, not everybody knows where it's going to go, but like some people said they got size, some people said got the whole script. Did you know what you were signing up for? And then you go to Cannes.
Yeah, yes and no. To be completely transparent, he reached out to me. Sam reached out to me and said that he had seen my work, and in particular, I think he made note of my role in High Fidelity and how he felt that the life of that character could be a good fit within this world. I did not have a script. I did not have sides. It was more of conversations that we were having, and he felt as though I would be a good fit. So we did the project. It was super collaborative and creative. And then what was wild is getting that phone call, because as a trained actor, you're waiting for that moment to happen, but you're thinking like, oh, it's going to be this, you know what I mean, obvious choice of some Oscar worthy film. So to get it off of a TV show, I could not believe it. But you're absolutely right. This is a whole nother beast over here. I've seen you at many award ceremonies, festivals, TIFF. No, it's completely different, but it's beautiful because it almost romanticizes, the process of making art and the love of making art and putting respect on it in such a way, even more so than I think the Oscars does. And it puts a real reverence to it. And I hope that that's something that I keep with me and cherish, so that, when you're working and you're tired or you're questioning, do you continue to go on and stuff like that? I want to remember this moment because it has just filled me with so much joy and overwhelming gratitude.
What did you get from Sam's direction that helps you out as an actress? Because I always feel everybody still continues to learn, and he called you up, he wanted you for this. It's not like you auditioned. What are you getting from his direction that helps you out going forward? Maybe it's a technique or so forth that you have not done before that maybe help you down the road in whatever project you do next.
I think with this process, he allowed me to really see how much I actually bring to the table as a creator, and the power in trusting myself, and knowing that choices I make can work. You know what I mean? So it helped me stop second guessing myself and allowing myself also to be free within the world of the character. And I love that sense of freedom that I was able to have. It was really great.
You've got a number of roles coming up, The Holdover, Rustin. I'm sure we'll talk again. Congratulations on this role, on this
Yeah.
series. Have fun while you're out there. Enjoy the
Thank
scenery.
you.
We'll talk down the road.
All right. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Take care. Wilson Morales from Black Film TV talking to Jay Adams. How's it going, Jane?
Hi, it's going great. I'm in Cannes.
Yes, you are. So I've watched your work over the years, whether it's film or TV, and this one's obviously a little bit different than the ones you've done before. What went into saying yes to the role to the project
I,
itself?
I think this role is great. It's brilliant. I mean, this is a character who calls out every elephant in the room, and I feel like we need more people like that these days, for sure. Will.
So how would you describe Nikki when it was presented to you?
Uh, how would I? Nikki, Nikki's a ball buster. She gets it done.
Uh-huh. When you take on a role like this, obviously there are people like Nikki in this business. I'm sure there is because it
I
was
think
written.
I think there are people like this in all businesses. I,
Yes,
I don't think it's just the record industry or Hollywood. I don't think it's just that. I think that everybody can relate to, you know, there are people
not
like
that you're that person, but did you do
I'm
your
really
own research into somebody that has that sort of personality? Have you met somebody with that personality?
I love people like this. I love them. That's all I can say. Like again, I think we need more people to say what the fuck is going on. Yeah.
You just don't want it happening to you.
I don't know. I don't know that I mind it so much. I kind of like it when there's a person who calls out the elephant in the room when I'm around. I like it because it keeps things real.
You like that, granted, there's always got to be that person, and like you said, every aspect of the business somewhere, whether it's music, TV, sports, or whatever,
Right.
obviously you don't want it to be you because that just says you're not doing your job, you know.
Right, but a lot of people aren't doing their job, and you need somebody to call them out on it.
you know
They could be doing better.
when you work on a project like this, obviously, with Sam's work, what are you getting out of his direction that's different from the other people you've worked with in the past that may be something new? You've been in the game long enough. Are you still learning?
I'm totally still learning, and it's a great question because um, I love working with Sam because it's every day. It's kind of thrilling. You don't know what exactly is going to happen, but I like that. I like working like that. It keeps me in the moment. It's challenging. It's interesting. It's definitely not boring. Um,
Definitely boring indeed.
yeah, exactly.
But was there anything, obviously through his process, like I said, you've done TV, you've done plenty of shows, you've worked with different directors. That was anything new from his process, and playing this part that you said to yourself, I've not done this before. Maybe it's a technique that I can probably bring on to something else I may do down the road.
I don't know. That's a good question. I hadn't thought about it in that much that way. To me, it was just kind of meeting the challenge every day of being prepared enough, knowing my lines, and uh, reacting to whatever scene started happening in front of me. It feels very, Sam was talking yesterday about reality television influencing what he does. And that made sense to me because it feels real also, you can, he'll be shooting a scene and then, you're on the periphery of it, but then the character well enough and the other actor's character well enough that oh, I should walk into this now, and maybe that wasn't written in exactly that place, or you just had a kind of a notion that, oh yes, in one draft of the script this is when I entered. Maybe that's changed, but right now it seems like I should be part of this, and then you just do it, and he either wants that or not, and it's very exciting either way. Like, when you take a chance like that and then you realize, no, this is what he wants. And also he would get behind the camera himself. Sometimes he would operate the camera, and an important thing too is it was shot on film. It's not digital, so it's not like it's free to keep doing take after take. They're burning film. It's exciting because the stakes are higher.
You're working opposite Lily. Obviously we know who she is. We've seen some of the work, but this is a big role for her.
Yes.
what was that dynamic like? Knowing what she has to carry with this film, with this
Well,
series.
I just watched her carry it. Like I watched her beautifully carry this giant load, like the dancing, the singing, the acting. She does it all. She does it brilliantly. She's one of the best actresses I've ever known, and I feel it was a privilege to work with her, for
Mhm.
sure. It's
And
very
then,
exciting. It's very exciting working with somebody who's that intelligent and that beautiful to look at all at the same time. I mean, we are making a movie, so it matters.
mhm. And then there's Abel. Obviously we all know him as the Weeknd, but obviously he's coming out as an actor here.
Yeah,
And sometimes when you have that artist who's widely known, making that transition, you're
yeah,
either going to have naysayers that say stay in your lane, or you're going to get applause. And
yeah.
it's always a mixed bag. What
Right.
was your experience like?
Well, I just think, I mean, it's kind of a spoiler that we work together, because you don't see that in the first two episodes, but, he's wonderful. And I feel like artists should be allowed, they are actually allowed to do whatever they like. And people are either going to like it or not. And they either are going to be happy about the transition or not, but it doesn't really matter to the artist. I have a lot of respect for Abel that he gets things done and he's doing what he wants to do. And, people evolve, artists have to evolve. I think he's doing that.
Mm-hmm. Is this
And
your first time again?
I think he's a very good actor. My
Yeah,
experience is
people will see it, and
yeah,
by the end of the 5 episodes, we'll say, okay, obviously there's already talk what people have seen already, but we haven't seen everything yet. So there's always still time to see what happens at the end of the series. To see
exactly.
whether or
Oh,
not, like,
exactly. Think of all of my favorite series. If you go back and you watch the pilot or the first few episodes, and then a couple seasons in, look at what you would never have imagined. The best ones. You can't imagine where they're going to go.
yeah, there are a lot of shows out there that you never would have thought they would have lasted as long
Yeah.
as they have from
It's
season one.
exactly. And also it's very exciting to see, it's not a movie. It's not already written with a beginning, middle, and end. And that's that. We're in this zone where it's this evolving story. And I find that part of these streaming series very exciting as an actor, because you just don't know. At first, I think years ago, I think when they first started happening, it was a little frustrating because it gives the actor even less control. When you're on stage, it's the actor's medium. I'm in charge pretty much. I mean, you rehearse that play, but then in the end, I'm walking out on that stage and I'm making the choices. Nobody can stop me. Nobody can say cut. There's an audience there. My choices are what the audience is seeing. With movies, it's less control for the actor because it's a director's medium. The director is in charge of editing and the thing. Streaming, but at least as an actor in a movie, the beginning, middle, and end. A streaming series, it's up for grabs. It is the director the whole way. The writers and the writer director is there. They're making it up as they go along, and everybody follows that lead. And I find it exciting. That's why I love working with Sam, because I think it's sort of thrilling where he decides to go. I mean, I had seen, before I knew I was going to do this project, just in life, I had seen a few episodes of Euphoria and I loved it. I thought, wow, this guy is really doing beautiful stuff.
And even that somewhat had the same response in a way to this.
Oh, good.
You've done theater. Obviously, you've had accolades. You've done TV. You're at Cannes now. It's a different beast. When you go out there, and
Yeah.
everybody, there's only but a few projects that everybody's excited to see, and they see it and they have that quick response. Could that a little bit be jarring or challenging when this is that big event and that moment, and then you have to hear or read what people are saying?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I used to feel years ago like what real people were saying, what people in general were saying, because we're all real people. But like, I mean, thanks. But it's like we I used to be more interested in it. Now the internet has become some kind of beast that I've lost interest in it, actually. I've lost interest in this kind of like phony outrage that happens. I've lost interest in, headlines that are clearly just clickbait. Like it's just, what I miss is real dialogue, like people unafraid to talk about disturbing subject matter. I mean, we're all adults. There were racier movies that I was sneaking into as a kid in the 70s and 80s. Racier than this. I don't know, like what happened somehow, like 70s, 80s, 90s, we get 2000 and all of a sudden we're into 2023 and we're like puritanical or something. Like, you need I don't get it. I really don't get it. Like it's an adult channel. This is an adult series,
That leads me to ask, for all the work you've done, what goes into saying yes? Were you given the entire script for this and then said, okay, I'm game with it, or did you,
for
get
this
sides?
for this, I never had an entire script, and in the beginning, it was just about here's this character. Sam liked my concept of the character, and all right, let's go. Let's see where this takes us. Which again, that's what's so thrilling.
Have there been other projects you've done where you're like, it was similar to this, where you didn't get everything, and then you're like, oh, this is where we're going, but I'm already signed on.
Yeah, they're actually all that's what I mean. All the streaming shows are like this. I mean, to an extent, but all of them you don't know. Nobody's got 4 seasons written. Do you know what I mean? I mean, maybe now ChatGPT is going to start writing 4 seasons. That's like a whole world I can't even imagine. So.
What's the experience like? Have you been to Cannes before? Have you enjoyed the scenery?
Yeah, I was in Cannes. I don't know exactly what year. I should have looked it up, but it's like for this film Anniversary Party. I was playing in that Jennifer Jason Leigh directed that. I was John C. Reilly's wife, and we were all here. Those were kind of wild days, so I don't remember everything very well about the experience then, but I know I had a really good time.
We were talking about the internet before, and it can be a beast, but nowadays I think every project needs some sort of marketing, whether it's good or bad, because there's a glut of projects out there, whether it's streaming, network, cable. If you decide to go to the movie theaters, people don't know what they want to watch until they hear about it. Right. What's going to be the selling point to watching this? Obviously, the early buzz on this, it's controversy, but, at the end of the day, there is buzz, as opposed to like, you just can't put it out there and assume there's an audience right there right away.
Right. But I do think Abel has lots of fans. Sam has lots of fans. Lily has lots of fans, that it's a start. But I feel like if I was telling, if I wasn't in this and I saw what I saw at the premiere, I would be telling a girlfriend, I'd be texting them, hey, you've got to see this. Lily-Rose Depp is amazing and it's gorgeously shot. Sam Levinson and Marcel have done an incredible work. And, Abel Tesfaye is an actor, and, you get to see that transition. And, I feel like it's exciting, and it's not PC, which is a great relief, to me. And I know there are plenty of other people like me who would just like to see something that isn't preaching at them. It's not a morality play.
And before I let you go, obviously after the 2 episodes, is Nikki a one-note character, or do we see change throughout the 5 episodes, 6 episodes?
You'll see change. You'll see change. I mean, yeah. You'll see change, and sometimes, just like in life, that change comes slowly, but I guarantee, I mean, it's Sam's writing, so yeah, you'll see change eventually.
All right, Jade, it's been a pleasure. Have yourself a great one.
You too. Really nice. Thank you so much. Really nice meeting you. You too. Take care. Have a good day.